Hello friend. I want to tell you about the Peugeot 508 car. The second generation Peugeot 508 is conceptually a classic front-wheel drive car. Four-wheel drive is available only in the sporty hybrid 4PSE hybrid version, in which the rear drive is provided by an electric motor. The 508 suspension is related to the Peugeot 308, 3008 and 5008. At the front, a classic wishbone supporting a McPherson strut. It has a replaceable end with a pin, which reduces the cost of repair. At the rear, we have a multi-link system with high durability and a fairly simple design. The car has an electrically assisted steering system and an electric parking brake, as the French manufacturer has equipped it with a wealth of driving assistance systems. There is also no shortage of adaptive LED lights. Engines. By the standards of the time, the Peugeot 508's engine range was quite extensive, but it shrank over time. In 2018 to 2020, the range was simply reasonable. The 1.6 PureTech petrol engine came in two power versions, 181 or 225 HP. The diesels were the smaller 1.5 Blue HDI with 131 HP and the larger 2.0 Blue HDI with 163 or 177 HP. Over time, however, reason and logic in the range of drives began to give way to politics. Already in 2019, a 225 HP plug-in hybrid was introduced to the offer, based on a 1.6 petrol engine. In 2020, a powerful 360 HP version, PSE, appeared, as well as a 1.2 PureTech petrol engine with 131 HP, replacing the larger petrol engine, which survived until 2021. From that year, petrol 508s were only available with a 3-cylinder 1.2 PureTech and in hybrid versions with 180, 225 and 360 HP. In 2020, the 2.0 diesel was also withdrawn. Only the weaker 1.5 remained in the range. Currently, the Peugeot 508 can be purchased with a 1.2 petrol, 1.5 diesel and in the three aforementioned hybrid versions. For many potential customers, this model has lost its meaning because it does not have a single reasonable source of power. As standard, almost all Peugeot 508 versions were and still are offered with an 8-speed automatic by Aisin. Only the 1.5 HDI engine received a manual gearbox and it was only available until 2020. Which engine to choose? The choice is quite simple, because the 1.2 PureTech unit should not even be considered due to the huge risk of expensive repairs and poor driving pleasure. The 1.5 Blue HDI diesel is good for people who do not expect dynamics, poor performance, but care about fuel consumption. And also for the car not to have too high mileage. A plug-in hybrid is an option for those who have excess power from photovoltaics and like risk. It is quite economical, but any savings are offset by charging system failures and traction battery problems, not to mention the price. The only sensible drive variants of this car are the petrol 1.6 PureTech, only until 2021, and 2.0 Blue HDI, until 2020. Both are dynamic and economical at the same time, and it is worth emphasizing that proper handling of the petrol engine gives fuel consumption results comparable to the more powerful diesel variant. What's broken? On the one hand, the Peugeot 508 is not yet a faulty vehicle. The oldest ones are 5 years old, but it should be remembered that due to its age, there is not yet a well-developed market for non-original spare parts or used ones. At the moment, there are only two engines to worry about. The 1.2 PureTech petrol is very risky and you should expect to have to replace the engine if you buy a used car. It has a faulty timing belt drive in an oil bath, which needs to be constantly checked, replaced in advance and the oil and cooling system taken care of very well. More about the engine in the text below. The second engine to watch out for is the 1.5 Blue HDI. It's a good unit, but it has two big problems. The first is the heat exchanger, which leaks coolant. If there are such problems, you can expect high costs. Alternatively, you can look for a used one. The second vulnerable area is the timing drive, but not the main belt, but the camshaft chain. It is not durable, and in the first series of 1.5 HDI engines it worked for a little over 100,000 kilometers. Often, by the mileage of 150,000 kilometers it was damaged and the engine destroyed. In time, a wider, more durable chain was introduced, which could replace the old narrower one. You have to make a conversion, replacing, among other things, the shafts and the valve cover. Such a package costs about $1,200 plus labor. The rule of thumb when replacing a timing drive is to replace the complete timing set, including belt, chain, rollers, which costs about $300. Even a wider chain is still a sensitive point for this engine. In addition, this engine, like the 2.0 Blue HDI, occasionally struggles with the exhaust gas cleaning system. The SCR system fails in the 2.0, but these are not serious faults, but most often sensor errors that simply need to be cleared. AdBlue injector failures occur less frequently. There are also problems with the Eloise fluid, which facilitates the burning of soot from the FAP filter. The 1.6 PureTech engine raises some concerns, as it is in fact a deeply modernized unit with the infamous name of 1.6 THP. In practice, it is one of the best engines in its class in terms of performance, but it is very demanding in terms of maintenance. The oil should be changed twice a year, definitely more often than every 10,000 kilometers. It is also necessary to clean the cylinder head from carbon deposits every few dozen thousand kilometers. You should also not ignore error messages or the feeling that the engine is starting to skip or jerk. In this way, a well-maintained 1.6 unit rarely causes problems. Little is known about hybrid systems. However, there are faults in the charging system, failures of onboard chargers, especially when the car is charged from photovoltaic panels. This may be due to too high voltage in the network. The second sensitive area is the traction batteries themselves, which are subject to failure. Independent services cope with such problems. Authorized ones usually recommend replacement. Thanks for listening to me. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and rate my video. If you know any problems with this car that I didn't mention, be sure to write about them in the comments.